The winning blueprint presents.
In the lab room.
Ah, yes, Tuesday, the proverbial no man's land day in the National Football League. On Tuesdays, there's really not a lot going on. Maybe talk about what happened on Monday Night Football, really give you a chance to soak in what happened to your team on Sunday as you prepare to move forward and move on from that game and look toward your next opponent. And so on Tuesday, you're kind of stuck in the middle. You're still lamenting a loss if you lost on Sunday, still kind of basking in the glow of a win if you won on Sunday. And if you didn't play, you're itching to get back onto the field. And so you're kind of stuck because you're not really doing anything. You're not preparing for your next opponent quite yet. There's no practices going on unless you're playing on Thursday Night Football. And so Tuesday is, well, Tuesday. I've always said that Tuesday of the 7 days of the week was the least necessary. Every one of the days of the week served some sort of purpose. Of course, Monday is the start of the work week. Wednesday is hump day. You're at the middle of the work week, looking forward to the latter half of the week, gotten past the first 2 days. Thursday is almost that precursor to the weekend. You feel it coming. Hey, I get past Thursday. I got Friday left. Everybody looks forward to Friday. And Thursday is that guy. He's that day of the week where you just say, all right, I'm almost there. It's almost Friday. And Friday is the start of the weekend for all intents and purposes. Once you get off of work, if you work on Friday, a lot of people don't work on Friday. Once you get off work on Friday, it's the weekend. And so we don't need to talk about Saturday. We don't need to talk about Sunday because those days hold plenty of importance. And so you just look, what does Tuesday do? What is the purpose of Tuesday? Can't think of one, can you? Don't worry about it. It's not important. What is important, though, is that today we're going to go over what occurred last night on Monday Night Football. The New York Jets took on the Houston Texans in a game that many of us thought could get out of control. Now, I had already tempered this game by saying, look, I expected the Jets to show up, play solid football, and not get blown out, not get embarrassed on national television. And that's what I expected them to do. I expected them to conduct themselves as an NFL team, not look like they did a week ago against the 49ers, where they looked like a JV team playing against varsity. I expected them to conduct themselves as a National Football League team, come out, be very competitive, give themselves a chance. Ultimately, we knew they weren't going to win this game. They weren't going to have a shot to win this game, but they were going to be competitive. You weren't ever going to feel like, hey, I can turn this game off and feel safe that the Jets aren't going to come back and at least threaten to win this game. But you knew in the back of your mind, if I wanted to turn this game off, I feel fully confident that the Jets won't win this game. And I figured that's what they would do. But I was hoping, and I never wish for someone to lose their job or their spot. But I was hoping to see a little bit more of Tim Tebow because I think that's what this Jets offense really needs. They need to know exactly what's going on. Right now, they're doing the old herky-jerk quarterback shuffle with Mark Sanchez and Tim Tebow right now. And that's not going to get them anywhere. Sanchez is erratic. He's definitely inconsistent. Has been throughout the duration of his career. Since he set foot in the National Football League, he's been inconsistent. If there's one thing he's been consistent at, though, I will give him credit for, it's being inconsistent. So you got to find out. And if you're a player on the Jets, you got to find out who your quarterback is. Right now, they're telling you it's Mark Sanchez. That's who it's been, for the whole season thus far. That's who it's been for the last 3 seasons. But this Jets offense right now is very sick. And you know what the antidote is? The antidote is Tim Tebow. When you don't have a lot of talent on your football team on the offensive end, when you're struggling to score points, giving up points as well, the one thing that you can do to slow all of that down, to cure all of those ills, is to run the football. What will Tim Tebow do if you insert him into your starting lineup as your starting quarterback? Run the football. He'll not only make your running game better, you'll also win the time of possession because you'll eat up a lot of clock doing it that way. You'll slow the other team down. They won't score as many points because they won't have as many possessions. They won't have as many opportunities to score the football. Your defense will get a lot of rest on the sideline. No excuse for them to be back on the field because right now with Mark Sanchez out there, it's a lot of 3 and outs. And if you just came off the field from an 8-play, 6-minute drive, 11-play, 4-minute drive, you're tired. You want to grab a Gatorade and grab some air, some oxygen. You don't want to go back on the field in 35 seconds because your offense just went 3 and out. But that's what happens time and time again when Mark Sanchez is heading up that New York Jets offense. So I feel like if you insert Tim Tebow, run the football a little bit, make it third and manageable. He even came in the game last night and threw a beautiful deep ball. Let's not act like Tim Tebow can't throw the football. He's not the most accurate guy in the world, but Mark Sanchez is completing less than 50% of his passes. So let's not talk about accuracy. Let's not act like Mark Sanchez is setting the world on fire and Tim Tebow is going to come in and do a whole heck of a lot worse. Okay? Because who you have at quarterback right now, he's not getting the job done. And you're losing football games that either you could be winning or you could at least be a lot more competitive in. And so, if nothing else, if you put Tim Tebow in the game, you get some stability on offense because there's no more yo-yoing at the quarterback position. There's no more Tim Tebow, you're in, Sanchez, you're out, Sanchez, you're in, Tebow, you're out. There's no more of that. You put Tim Tebow in, you got a guy that's going to get it done for 3 downs. You get in the red zone, you're getting 7 on the board because Tim Tebow smells the end zone. Now, he's not always going to make the best passes, make the prettiest play, but he gets it done. Not always going to win, a beauty contest. It's not going to be the most aesthetically pleasing to the eye. That's okay because he gets it done in the end. And all we care about in this business, all we care about in the National Football League is results. Show me your win-loss record. Show me that you're getting it done on the field. And we know Tim Tebow can get it done. He's not going to win every game. He's not going to make the smartest decisions on the field all the time. But you can do a heck of a lot better than Mark Sanchez. And I think Tim Tebow is that. Especially for this Jets team. I'm trying to tell you that Sanchez is not a fit for what Rex Ryan wants to do. The only reason he's not a good fit is because he's not a good quarterback right now. Tim Tebow, however, fits exactly what Rex Ryan wants to do. Because Rex Ryan wants to play defense. He wants his defense not to be terrible. Not to be giving up 50-yard runs from inside their own 5-yard line. He wants his defense not to be giving up play-action fake, wide open, touchdown to a tight end over the middle of the field with not a defender in sight. He wants his defense to resemble that of the 2009 Jets, his first year as head coach, when they were number 1 in the league in defense. Now, Tim Tebow doesn't play defense. So let's not act like Tebow's going to come in and the defense is all of a sudden going to be world beaters. That's not what I'm saying. What he will do, though, is he will come in. He will prolong drives, make possessions count. And even if he doesn't score points, He'll put together lengthy possessions where the defense actually gets to catch their breath, can talk about adjustments on the sideline, go back into the game, and execute on the field. Now, this Jets defense is missing Darrelle Revis, so they'll never be at a full strength this year. They'll never be 100% in terms of the efficiency that they'll be able to put on the field. No Darrelle Revis means you're short 15% of your defense. 15% of your playbook goes away when Darrelle Revis goes away. You can't just lock it up on the outside now and say, all right, Revis, you take one side, Cromartie, you take the other one. We're blitzing 7 guys. Hold up. Can't do that anymore because you can't trust Kyle Wilson. You can't trust Ellis Lankster in the slot. You can't trust these guys to hold up one-on-one. You're going to get beat. And so you got to temper what you do now. You can't just go out and call zero coverage and send the house and hope that they get there and know that backside is holding up. So if you're the Jets, you have to find ways to be creative to get pressure on the quarterback because you don't get pressure on the quarterback. That was evident last night as well. You don't get pressure on the quarterback. Now, what's alarming is that you're not stopping the run either. That's not something that Rex Ryan coach defenses normally have a problem with, stopping the run. But you're not stopping the run this year. Frank Gore had a nice solid game against you. And we're talking about, top tier backs, but it doesn't matter. In the past, it didn't matter who the back was, who the offensive line was, who the team was. They weren't running the football on the New York Jets. That's no longer the case. And so the Jets, I feel they need to pull the trigger on putting Tim Tebow in. I just feel like the Jets can accomplish so much more on offense. And yeah, the score is going to be 16-13. But if it's a Jets win, who cares? I guarantee you the Jets fans don't. I guarantee you Rex Ryan doesn't. If the score is 13-10 Jets, do you care? If you're a Jets fan, do you care? Nope. You know why you don't care? Because it's a W. It's a W. Right now you're getting L's. So you'll take a W any way you can get it. Whether it's 13-10, 16-13, or 7-3. Which it won't be. There's not many 7-3 games going on in the NFL anymore. Those days have passed, long gone, and that ship has sailed. Teams score points now. Now you'll get the occasional Ravens-Chiefs game, 9-6. Those will show up every now and again. But 7-3, those don't happen too often anymore. But the Jets need to insert Tim Tebow. I think it's time. I really think that this offense will benefit from Tim Tebow being in there. Teams having to prepare for Tim Tebow carrying the football. Teams having to prepare for the spread option look. Because Tim can hand it off or he can pull it out and take it himself. You have to prepare for that. And don't forget the option still exists for him to just pull it out and just throw an old-fashioned pass. Whatever happened to that? Let's not forget Tim Tebow does have a left arm. That he does know how to throw the football. Let's not forget that. He was a prolific passer at Florida. All right? Now, he's not the best passer, but he can throw the football. And I honestly think he can be effective in this Jets offense. I really do. I really think that with offensive coordinator Tony Sparano, look, that's someone that I trust to get a lot done with a little bit of talent. I've seen him do it. I've seen that man take a dry rag and get a bucket of water out of it. I've seen him do it. That 2008 Dolphins team that won the division, that team was talentless on offense. I've seen him take a dry rag, squeeze it, and get a bucket full of water before. So if he can do that with that Dolphins team, this New York Jets team, this 2012 New York Jets offense is not that bad. Now, it's not that good either. But it's not as bad as that 2008 Dolphins team that won the division. They won 10 games. The Dolphins were very creative on offense using the little bit of tools that they had. And you know who the head coach was? Spearheading that offense? Tony Sparano. And that's the Jets offensive coordinator. I think if they allow him to work with Tebow intimately, knowing that Tebow's the starting quarterback, they will come up with some very interesting plays. And you can even incorporate Mark Sanchez. You really can still have Mark Sanchez be a part of this team. His confidence will be shot to hell, but at this point, it's about winning games. It's not about stroking anyone's ego. You did that in the offseason when you gave him that bogus contract just to make him feel good and make him feel like he was still the starter because you went out and got Tim Tebow. You already stroked his ego enough times. Forget about all that. Let's win football games. Winning football games, what happened when you put Tim Tebow in the game? Now, let's talk about last night's game because I just had a referendum on why we should put Tim Tebow in the game or why the Jets should put Tim Tebow in the game. Let's talk about the game last night, though. The Texans, who are undefeated on the season, came into the game 4-0, and the Jets, who were 2-2 on the season, hosting the Texans. The Texans came into this game knowing one thing and one thing only: winning. That's all they had done this season is win. And they were expecting to come out and they were looking to throttle this Jets team who had got embarrassed a week ago at home against the San Francisco 49ers, not scoring a single point, losing to the 49ers 34-0. And so the Texans said, hey, if the 49ers can do it, why can't we? We're just as good as them on defense. We're better than them on offense. Let's go out and destroy these guys on national TV. So the Texans came out, first possession, didn't even think about running the football. Pass, and more pass. And they went right down the field. And wouldn't you know it, I told you they were going to play action fake. At some point, they were either going to find Andre Johnson, Owen Daniels, or Kevin Walter. They took option B on that one. Owen Daniels, play action fake, up top, Owen Daniels, wide open, double move on Antonio Cromartie, wide open, about a 40-yard touchdown pass. You claim you're the #1 corner in the league now that Revis is down? Can't tell. That double move had you lost. You were out in space. Nobody around. Your man had left you somewhere at the 10. He was at the goal line. Anyway, so the Texans take a 7-0 lead, and just like that, you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a breeze for the Texans. This could get ugly quick. And I said, hold on, pump your brakes. The Texans came out. They had a strategy. They scripted the first 15, and they were a beautiful first 15. I mean, they knew what they wanted to do. They knew how they wanted to attack the Jets, and they did so very efficiently. Went right down the field, got 7. Can't ask for a better opening drive than the one the Texans put together in this football game. The Jets get the football back, and you're looking for a response, something, a field goal, a drive that stalls out right outside a field goal, something. Of course, they come in the game and they go 3-0 in typical Jets fashion. And so you say to yourself, they've got to do something. And they put Tebow in the next possession. The Jets defense holds a couple of times. Tebow gets in and he throws. You're thinking run. Automatically, you're thinking run. And this is why I think Tebow is going to be very effective if you put him in. You have to respect the running game. You got to respect it. If you're a linebacker and Tim Tebow's in the game, the first thing you're thinking is spread option. Look for the run. Either he's handing it in the belly of his running back and he's taking off with it, or Tim Tebow is pulling it out and he's using it to run himself. And so that's what you have to be thinking if you're a linebacker. If you're a safety, run. And so Tebow comes in, and I thought this was brilliant. They play action fake him, and he goes up top. I thought the newly acquired Jason Hill had a step on his defender, and Tebow put it right on the money. But this is exactly why he was newly acquired and why he was on the street. Because he can't catch the football. And he dropped a perfectly thrown football. Tim Tebow should have had a completion of up over 30 yards in this game, but his receiver couldn't corral it and bring it in. They tried to make it seem like the defender got a piece of it. No. Jason Hill dropped the football. That was a perfectly thrown football by Tim Tebow. And so that's why I think Tebow is going to make this offense much more dynamic than what it is now. You're thinking he's going to come in and it's going to be run left, run right, run center, run right, run left. No, he's going to throw the football. He's going to have defenses off balance because you're thinking run. Wade Phillips said, yeah, we prepared for Tim Tebow this week. We spent about, a good 30 minutes of each practice on just Tim Tebow. You couldn't have, because he came in the game and he had an open receiver. You prepare for Tim Tebow running the football. That's what you spent 30 minutes on every day doing. You didn't prepare for Tim Tebow to pass the football. And he came in and his first play was a pass. And a very effective one, had Jason Hill corral the football like he gets paid to do. But again, when you get stuff off the street, those are the kind of results you get. It's the reason why that stuff was on the street. And so, that play didn't work. The Jets struggled to score points. They even tried Cromartie out there at receiver, and he got open. Sanchez couldn't put it on the money, let him out of bounds. But he got a step on the defender. I mean, he was running out there. I don't think that's a bad idea either. I mean, utilize, and that's what I said. With Tony Sparano as your offensive coordinator, he's going to utilize every single option he has. He's going to exhaust every single, feature of that offense that exists. If he can use Antonio Cromartie out at receiver, on an end around, on a wide receiver screen, on a go route, he's going to do that. And that's why I said they need to play Tebow, because you get more gadget plays. You get more out of what you have if Tebow's in the game than if Mark Sanchez is in the game. So back to the game. Again, I keep getting sidetracked. I keep going off on a tangent. But I think that Tim Tebow is the right move for them, and that's why I keep doing that. But let's go back to the football game. The Jets were able to get down the field, and Mark Sanchez was able to throw a beautiful strike to the tight end Jeff Cumberland for a 26-yard touchdown pass that tied the football game up at 7 apiece. And so, just like I had thought, they were going to put up some resistance in this game. They weren't just going to lay down for the Houston Texans. I told them to get out of the way, though, because if they tried to stand up, they were going to get steamrolled. Well, they didn't stand in the way. They didn't move out the way either, though. They kind of did a half-hearted tackle, and that's cool. They played as best as they could and gave themselves a chance. That's all you can ask for. And so, Jets are tied with the Texans 7-7. The Texans, after a couple drives of nothing, finally go down and score some more points. A drive headed by Arian Foster. What an animal he is. What a luxury the Houston Texans have to have Arian Foster, Ben Tate out there running the football, and then play action fake off of it. It's cheating is what it is. You want to know why the Texans are 4-0? You want to know why the Texans are one of the better offenses in the league? Because they can run the football with Arian Foster. And off of that, you have play action fake, almost unstoppable. You have to respect the run, then you get beat over the top with the pass. A beautiful combination. When run works, play action works even better. What a beautiful thing that is when it's in sync. Anyway, Arian Foster leads them down the field, scores on a 14-yard touchdown run, and extends the lead to 14-7. Texans. The Jets get the football back, and they were using Tim Tebow all over the place. They even used him to get a first down on 4th down on a punt. He snuck it. It was 4th and inches, and he ran it in as the personal protector and got the first down. But they've done that with him before. Texans were ready, but it's Tim Tebow. You don't stop Tim Tebow from getting inches. It's just hard to do. And so the Jets did nothing on that possession, and they did nothing until the last possession before the half. They started to mount a drive. Sanchez is taking them down the field. And then J.J. Watt, who had a monster football game. He was, without a doubt, the Texans' best player on defense. I'm starting to believe that J.J. Watt is not only a Pro Bowler, not only an All-Pro, but I'm starting to believe that J.J. Watt has the potential to be a Hall of Famer someday. He's playing that good of football. I normally don't talk about guys, playing their way into Canton this early in their careers. J.J. Watt is only in his 2nd season in the league, but from what I've seen, the sheer dominance that he's imposing from the defensive end position, normally you don't see, guys that play the 5 technique having 8.5 sacks after 5 games. When is the last time you've seen a guy playing the 5 technique, playing defensive end in a 3-4 defense with 8.5 sacks after 5 games? I can't recall. You don't see that often. I mean, guys who play, the 5 technique usually don't even have that many sacks to end the season. There's 2 seasons for guys who play the 5 technique in the 3-4 defense. That's usually 2 seasons worth of work for them. This man has it in 5 games. Not to mention, he's tipping balls like he's a DB. He gets his hands on more balls than DBs and safeties around the National Football League. So when he's not getting to your quarterback, he's disrupting them in a different way by knocking the ball down. 2 of his deflections, 3 now, counting the 1 in this game, have turned into interceptions. I mean, the guy is an absolute freak at defensive end. And I tell you, it's a joy to watch him play football. And he is an absolute man-child out there on the football field. And so, J.J. Watt tips a pass intended for Jeremy Curley on a slant. And they were literally in the red zone where the Jets going for points. We're talking about less than 30 seconds left in the first half. Gets tipped, picked off by the Texans, ran into Jet territory, deep into Jet territory. Texans run a couple plays, don't get anything from it, kick a field goal. They go to halftime up 17-7. Just like that, it's a 10-point, possibly 14-point swing. You're going in for points, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal. Instead, it goes the other way for 3. So, we're talking about a 6, possibly a 10-point swing there. Texans go to the halftime up 17-7. Texans tack on a field goal in the 3rd quarter to make it 20-7. They kick off the ball to Joe McKnight, and Joe McKnight proceeds to run the football back 100 yards for a touchdown to cut the deficit to 20-14. And every now and again, Joe McKnight, he'll reach up and bite you. If you kick it to him enough times, he's enough of a playmaker to do something with the football. That's why it's somewhat of a head scratcher. Why he's not more of a playmaker for the Jets on offense. He has the ability to make plays if the ball is in his hands. I don't know why he doesn't do more for the Jets on offense. If you remember, Joe McKnight was supposed to be the next Reggie Bush. And so, why isn't he translating what he does on special teams to the offensive end? I never can understand it. Why guys who are so explosive on special teams aren't more explosive on offense? I feel like if you can do what Percy Harvin does on special teams, you should be able to do what Percy Harvin does at receiver, at running back. And why isn't Leon Washington more of a threat in the offense? Why isn't Joe McKnight more of a threat? Why isn't Joshua Cribbs more of a threat? Why isn't Devin Hester more of a threat on offense? Get these guys in space. You see what they can do when they have space and a chance to run? Get them in the screen game. Put them in the backfield. Set up a screen. Do a couple decoy plays so teams start to ignore them being in the backfield. Then drop off a screen to them every now and again. Run a wide receiver screen for them. Get them in space. These guys are tremendous when they have the ball in their hands and they got space. I can never understand why more teams don't utilize these guys out in space on offense. Anyway, back to the football game. I have to stop getting sidetracked. I'm doing a terrible job of staying the course. So the Texans are now leading the game 20-14 after the Joe McKnight 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. The Texans get the football back. They proceed to get another field goal to make it a 23-14 football game. The Jets later on tack on another field goal of their own to cut it back to a 6-point lead and a 1-score game. And ultimately, that's what the final score ended up being, 23-17. We stayed there for the remainder of the game, and the Jets had opportunities to win this football game. But again, they're not a good enough football team to seize those opportunities right now, especially not on the offensive end. And so they went on that final possession that they had. They did a little bit of that yo-yoing that I was speaking to and referencing earlier, where they were doing the little herky-jerky thing, putting Sanchez in, putting Tebow in, putting Tebow in, taking Sanchez out. You can't win like this in the National Football League. There has to be stability at the quarterback position, especially for an offense that's struggling. You need to know who's going to be behind center. You need to know what's going on offense. You don't need to be mismatching the offenses and confusing guys. Give them one thing to focus on and stick with it. And that's why I think they need to make a decision with this quarterback thing, because in the National Football League, this going back and forth, this isn't college football. You can't go back and forth to quarterbacks and think that your offense is just going to run efficiently and effectively. That's not how it works in the National Football League. So they got to make a decision. I think that decision needs to be Tim Tebow. We've already seen the Mark Sanchez movie. We know it. We know the script. I'm reading it right now. It ends in a loss. It ends in an interception. We just saw that movie play out on Monday. We know how that movie ends. Let's look at the Tim Tebow script. I want to see that script again. Put him in. I want to see how that movie ends. Because we've seen how it ends in the Denver Broncos uniform. But we haven't seen that movie in a Jets uniform. Let me see how that movie looks. I'd pay money to see that movie. How about you? Yeah, you would pay money. Don't sit here and tell stories. Don't sit here and act like you don't want to see Tim Tebow in the game. Because you do. He's a polarizing figure. They put him in whether you hate him, love him, you're going to tune in because either you want to see him fail or you want to see him succeed. One way or the other, you care. You care about seeing Tim Tebow in the game. Stop it. Don't sit here and act like you don't. That's why ESPN and NFL Network will talk about Tim Tebow ad nauseum until you're ready to vomit all over yourself, because they know whether you like it or not, you're going to tune in. Tim Tebow gets eyeballs. Doesn't matter what he's doing, where he's doing it, he's going to get eyeballs. This isn't a publicity stunt. You're not doing this to get eyeballs. You're doing this to win football games. And so if you're the Jets, I think you need to pull the plug on Mark Sanchez. I know that this will damage his psyche. If you're thinking about going back to Mark Sanchez, then don't pull him out the game. Leave him in there and continue to lose football games. But if you want to win and win now and give yourself a shot, it's early. We're only 5 games deep. You got plenty of time to turn this thing around. You're only 1 game under 500. Teams aren't running away from you right now. You got time. Pull the plug on Mark Sanchez. Put Tim Tebow in the game. Give yourself a chance to win. One thing I know for sure, I can't guarantee you this, but I can do everything but guarantee you. That means I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 90% sure. I'm 95% sure. You put Tim Tebow in, you're going to have a chance to win every single game that you play in. You may get blown out once or twice. One of these games where, Tim Tebow and that option is not working. Defense is getting shredded. Tebow and the offense aren't sustaining drives. They're out there too much. And they're getting picked apart by an elite offense. That happens sometimes. But it's rare when Tim Tebow's on the field, because he's going to sustain drives, eat up a lot of clock. You're not getting, 12 and 13 possessions in a football game. Not when Tim Tebow's playing. He's going to eat up clock. You're going to see the ball 8, maybe 9 times. Make of it what you can, because you're not getting it 11 and 13 and 15 times. Because the Jets aren't going 3 and out anymore. They're going to be an on-schedule, on-time offense if Tim Tebow's in the game. On first down, they're going to get 3. On second down, they're going to get 4. Now it's 3rd and 3. Now they have the option of Tim Tebow tucking it and running it, him handing it off to a running back, them doing a gadget play, or him simply just faking the read option to the running back, pulling it out. You have to respect that. You come up 1 step, now that receiver running a shallow cross is open behind you. That's all they need. And so that's something that Rex Ryan needs to consider. I know he's thinking about it. It's tough because you don't want to pull the plug on your quarterback who you think could be your franchise guy, but you've given him too many opportunities and he's shown you that he's not ready for the spotlight. And honestly, Sanchez hasn't played a lot of football. It's been documented. And before he got to the National Football League, he hadn't played a lot in college. I don't care about that. You drafted him. You gave him the keys to your car. And so he's been driving in it. He's been wrecking it. You've gotten it fixed several times. And he's just wrecked it again. How many times are you going to allow him to drive this vehicle and not get maximum performance out of this vehicle? This vehicle doesn't go from 0 to 60 like that. No, this isn't that type of offense. But this offense and this vehicle can drive down the football field. It can drive. And it should be able to land. It should be able to get to the end zone. This car should land in the end zone at some point. But it's not getting in there enough. You're not getting enough points on the board. And so I think it's time for a change. But the Jets go down in this one 23-17. Taking their record to 2-3 on the season. Meanwhile, the Houston Texans elevate their record to a flawless 5-0 on the season. Now only 2 undefeated teams remain. The Texans at 5-0 and the Atlanta Falcons, who are also 5-0, remain on the season. And so the Texans right now are looking like the best team in all of football. I buy the Houston Texans as the best team in the National Football League more so than the Atlanta Falcons. I don't buy the Falcons as being an elite team at all. Their 5-0 record says they're elite, but I have questions about their defense. And I think their offense can be slowed down. I really do. I really don't think the Atlanta Falcons are an elite team. It's hard for me to say that because they're 5-0. You haven't lost a game. But they haven't been steamrolling people either like the Texans have. And I think the Texans, they play elite defense. They have an elite offense. I don't know. I'm not going to play that game right now. We're only 5 games into the season. Your record says you're elite. You're 5-0. You're elite. Leave it at that. That's a touchdown. Throw it up. One tackle on this quick extra point. I told you that we were going to talk about the broke 30 for 30 special today on the program, and that's exactly what I intend on doing. Now, I had a chance to watch it, and it was riveting TV. I want to go back and watch it again. It was so good. I had a buddy of mine tell me that they jumped around too much. I beg to differ. I thought that having so many different perspectives really allows you to realize that it's not just in the NFL. It's not just the NBA. It's not just Major League Baseball. It's all the sports, period. NHL, every sport, any athlete can become broke. And it can happen overnight, or it can happen over a series of years. And you've seen different scenarios, and that's what I thought was so great about this, is that they jumped around from guy to guy, scenario from scenario, and to different, you got different perspectives. You know, you got the Major League perspective from Homer Bush and Cliff Floyd, you know, and then of course we've all heard the chronicled stories like, you know, the Lenny Dykstra stories and all of those in Major League Baseball. You also had Kurt Schilling on the program too, you know. And so you got it from the Major League perspective, Major League Baseball. Then you look up, they had plenty of NFL guys, of course. Andre Bad Moon Rising, one of my favorite guys back in the day. You look at Winford Tubbs, Keith McCants, Leon Searcy. I mean, they had a plethora of NFL players to talk about how fast that money can really go if you're not keeping track of what's going on with your expenditures. And so when you look at the NBA, there's plenty of guys. You know, they had really Jamal Mashburn, who seems to be a very level-headed individual, talking about how he didn't go down that path and how he was able to make sure he kept tabs on his finances. But, you know, NBA players are just as susceptible to this as anybody. And so this documentary spoke volumes as to, you know, what it's really like to come into money at such a young age. It's funny because I look at this and I'm not that old. But I thought about it to myself. And I said, what a difference 5 years makes. Because if you were to hand me $13 million at the age of 20, 21, and I'm 26. So you hand me $13 million 5 years ago when I'm 21, maybe 6 years ago when I'm 20. There's a million things that I want to buy with that money. I mean, there's so many things that I can think of to squander and waste that money on that made absolutely zero sense. But when you're young, you're impulsive. That's the key word to me about people having money and spending it foolishly, is being impulsive. And look, people in retail aren't stupid. They're very smart individuals. They know, they call it impulse buys. That's why they put things in certain areas, because they know you as a consumer can't resist. And that's what happens to a lot of younger people who have money, who haven't had money before. They're very impulsive. I gotta have that. I want that right there because I never had that before. I've always wanted it. I need one of those. Matter of fact, give me 2 of those. Oh yeah, I need 8 cars and 5 gold chains as well. And an iced out watch. And those Jordans I never got when I was in school. Matter of fact, I want 6 pairs of those Jordans that I never had when I was in school. Oh yeah, new pairs coming out next week. Let me get 7 pairs of those too. That's what you do when you have an abundance of money and it seems like it's never going to run out. When you're the age that these guys were, when they got all of that money, when they got that large lump sum of money, and it's continuously coming in, there's no end in sight. All you see is green. You don't see the black at the end. And you don't realize that at some point this is going to run out and you need to be saving and thinking about the future. And it can happen to anybody. I thought that this documentary wasn't just tailored to just athletes. I think this goes for anybody in any walk of life. You don't have to be an athlete to go broke. You can be an actor. You can work at a used car dealership. You can work at a retail store. It doesn't matter. There's plenty of ways to go broke. You just have to be financially responsible with your money. Really, that's what it all boils down to. You know, there's things that you need, there's things that you want, and you have to find a happy medium between the two of them. Look, I'm not telling you don't go out and get the things that you've always wanted, because I know when I do come up on my money, and my time is coming here shortly. When I get my money, what I have coming to me, there's things that I've always wanted that I'm going to get. You know, there's things that I want to get for my parents. You know, these are things that you have to be able to take care of. But also, what I've always told people, and I'll continue to say it, and one of these days I'm going to become, because I feel like this is what I need to do. I need to give back. One of the ways I want to give back is being a motivational speaker, whether it's to athletes, whether it's to, you know, students, whether it's to young youth. I don't care who it is. The most powerful word to me, one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful word in all of the English language, is only 2 letters. It's the word no. A lot of people are afraid to use it. A lot of people don't know how to use it. Some people abuse it. But you need to learn how to use it. It's a very, very powerful word. A lot of people are scared to use it. They're afraid to tell people no. You got to be able to tell people flat out, no, I can't do this for you. I had to learn the hard way. I've made mistakes, did things for people that I shouldn't have done, and it cost me. You live and you learn. But those are stories that I can tell to other people to help them understand that you got to be able to tell people no. And yes, it might be ones that you love. It might hurt. But it's something that needs to be done. And these guys, a lot of them, for the most part, they didn't know how to tell people no. People were reaching in their pot and pulling out money left and right, and they didn't know how to tell them no. You know, Leon seriously talked about, you know, family members knowing payday better than he did. He would come out after practice, and they're leaning on his car talking about they needed him to pay their car note. I don't have, you know, 3 car notes. I have my car note to pay. You pay your own car note. And so you got to be able to tell people, no. Treat me exactly the same way you used to treat me before I came into this money. If you were a jerk to me then, continue to be a jerk to me now. If you were looking for handouts before I was getting money, okay, then continue to look for handouts. I'm going to still tell you no, but you can continue to look for them. That's what you've been doing in the past. But if you were someone that never asked me for money a day in your life, who never called me on the phone to see how I was doing, don't call me now. And a lot of people go broke because they don't know how to say no to family members. They're the biggest vultures of all. You know, you got a lot of guys out here that are white-collar criminals. That if you don't know who to entrust with your money, that's another thing I like to focus on too with this broke documentary is who do you trust? I have a small, tight-knit circle. I keep it that way for a reason. I don't trust a lot of people. Never have, never will. If you're in my circle already, you're going to be there and you're going to stay there probably for the rest of my life. If you're not in my circle now, chances are you won't get into it. Barring some kind of unforeseen circumstances, you won't make it into my small, tight-knit circle. I'll probably add 1 or 2 more individuals, maybe some sort of financial advisor, something like that, that's going to help me be able to balance my assets. I'll probably have someone like that be entered into my circle. But just another individual, you know, whether it be a family member or a friend from the past, no, they're not getting into my circle. I don't trust people. And for good reason. This documentary shows you can't trust everyone. There's guys out there who you think are your friends, but they're really out for themselves. They have ulterior motives. They have an agenda. And their agenda is to get their hands on some of what you have. They don't have it. You have it. Looks good. I want some. I can get it from this person. So you have to be able to look at all of these different circumstances. A lot of them very, very avoidable circumstances. Nonetheless, you have to take a look at all these circumstances. Take them into account and make a smart decision. Your agent, your financial advisor, all of these people shouldn't be one person. You need to have different people that you entrust certain things in and get different opinions from different people. Especially if you're an athlete. You're going to have a million people coming up to you with various ideas. This is what you should do. You should invest in this. Hey, you should do this. How about I just do what I want to do? What I think is smart. Don't entrust yourself into different individuals. And I think you learned that from this broke special. These guys were trusting too many people, allowing too many people to have access to what they had, were being too impulsive with the amount of money that they were spending. And they didn't know how to tell people no. Those are all things that in the long run will catch up to you. And it did. And you have to realize that these things never last forever, especially if you're not doing something that has longevity. If you're playing a sport like football, we know that the shelf life of an NFL athlete on average is 3 or 4 years. That's not a very long time. And so watching this, I really got the sense that these guys are so much smarter now than they were then. And that goes without saying. You get wiser as time goes on. If they had a chance to do it all over again, they would do it a lot differently. And I'm hoping that those who were able to watch that broke documentary were able to take something from this. They didn't just watch it, say, man, that's not going to be me, and turn it off. I hope it resonated with a lot of these younger players, you know, athletes, and just regular everyday Joes out there who are trying to accumulate, you know, some sort of money. Be smart. Be financially smart with your money. You know, you don't have to be an athlete to blow money and become broke. And I think, hopefully, you out there watching, whether you're an athlete or not, you all got the gist of what this documentary was trying to have come across. Is that you have to be able to be responsible. Everything that you do in life, every decision that you make has consequences. And so you have to be financially, fiscally smart with your money. And there's several different ways to ensure that you're doing just that. And so I thought that was a great documentary. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, I'm going to watch it several more times because I thought it was very informative. I found the stories to be very engaging. And honestly, some of them, I found them hard to believe. I mean, some of the ways these guys were blowing money, I can't wrap my head around it. Spending $30,000 in the club, popping bottles. You know, wow, that's a lot of money in one night. He was doing this several nights a week, was Andre Rison. You know, hard to fathom that. And this documentary, this 30 for 30 broke documentary went a little bit beyond just being broke and spending money and finding ways to be fiscally smart. Keith McCants talked about how guys become dependent on drugs. Playing in the National Football League, morphine and getting shot up to be able to numb the pain to go out and play, and having episodes like Ryan Leaf's situation happen in Arise. You know, these are things that also stem from this documentary that you can also think about and say, yeah, never really thought about it from that perspective. And so I thought this was a very informative documentary. I enjoyed it. And it seems like any documentary done by Billy Corbin and his group, I really enjoy. I love the Miami 30 for 30. That one, along with this Broke special, probably are my two favorites of all of them. I probably learned a lot about the Len Bias one as well. I knew a lot about Len Bias before watching that 30 for 30, but these 30 for 30s are just fun to watch because a lot of times it's like they take a time capsule and it takes you back. Even if you weren't there, you learn about it, and if you were, it takes you back to that time. I enjoy these 30 for 30s, especially the one entitled Broke. And that's going to do it for this episode of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me. Again, I'm your host, Lou, and you can definitely contact me and communicate with me in a myriad of ways, one being via email, inthelabroom@gmail.com, another being Facebook, In the Lab Room. That is the Facebook page. Please like me on Facebook. You can send me a message on Facebook or through the email or Twitter. I'm on Twitter at In the Lab Room. That's the Twitter handle at In the Lab Room. And so I thank you for joining me on this Tuesday. It was a very long episode on Tuesday. I felt like I needed to tell you that Tim Tebow should be the starter of the New York Jets. I felt the need to talk about the Broke 30 for 30 documentary. We have been putting that off for quite a while now. I thought this was a very, very productive episode, to say the least. Longer than normally the Tuesday episode is. But again, it's Tuesday. What else do you have to do? Nothing. It's Tuesday. So sit back, relax, and just know that you tuned in to a great episode of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me again. Want to see you back here same time, same place. I'm out. See you tomorrow.